What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the Coach Carter soundtrack. Basically, this product is called Coach Carter Music from the Motion Picture, and it came out in the winter of 2005. So the name about this particular product here is this obviously is the soundtrack to the Coach Carter movie from early 2005 as far as those aspects can happen. It's kind of that it's a good sports drama movie as far as those aspects can happen. Definitely glad that this particular movie had a soundtrack because it has some good bonus songs on here as far as those pitches kind of happen along with it. Some good type fares. There's some secret songs by some folks that don't commonly always have like the aspect of dropping super frequently, or maybe not so much super frequently, but just within the aspect of getting like some extra treats and goodies. There's some ones on here like just thinking of like the game when he was a part of G-Unit is a good affiliation that he has a song with Lil Scrappy on here. Ciara has like a leftover from her goodies days as far as those pitches kind of happen, which is definitely a good treat because just the tone behind how much of a smash hit album the goodies kind of was. Kanye West packs like a secret kind of almost seemingly like college dropout era type gem and like a DJ drama kind of soulful sense on a particular song on here, and brings Common and Malik Yusef along for the ride on top of that. Twisted doesn't really drop a new song, but there's some other folks on here. There's plenty of folks, like particularly another noteworthy, interesting type one would be Saint Lunatics with like a surprising 2005 highlight that has some good pitch. Also has Avery Storm on there, which is pretty dope. It's produced by longtime Nelly producer J.E., so some good type of appeal. So it's just a good assortment of like some secret batches of songs on here as far as these aspects can happen. Now there is a pretty good balance within these some of these type of aspects. Fabulous and Red Cafe are on here as well. They're pretty good affiliates within the tone behind it. There's some extra folks on here like some R&B singers, some up-and-comers, kind of like an R&B or a rap chica named Accent, some of these type of folks, some other folks. I mean, for the most part, there are some big names just across like the board as far as those pitches can happen. There's not too many kind of terribly super underground up-and-comers, and it's not to say that there's a problem with the up-and-comers, but it's just within the pitch that most of the best products of this particular soundtrack come from like the bigger names as far as those pitches can happen, just along with the tone behind it. But I would have to say, the thing about this particular product is just the fact that it is relatively solid enough, but it is still somewhat patchy within the sense. It's just not like nearly enough. Like the songs that are exclusive to the project are pretty damn good within the aspect, but you just have to look after that. It just depends upon your taste as to how some of these aspects are going to happen. Now, I feel like in terms of what I was looking for, Fabulous did not really deliver I feel like folks like Fabulous and Red Cafe did not really deliver like substantive kind of productions as far as the pitches of something that really has the captivation or interestingness compared to the stuff that Fabulous did with his album Real Talk that came out right around that particular time. I would have thought that it would have like a song like Breathe or something like that, but no need for conversation. It felt like a kind of dud-like production as far as this pitch kind of went with like something intended to be like a buzz single, something of that type or disc. Especially considering that it was produced by Needles, who was kind of like a producer that did some stuff for G-Unit and folks like that. I have to say, Need for Conversation just didn't nail it that well. Same thing with All Night Long. It was kind of a disappointing Red Cafe track. So it's just kind of the concept. It's just going to be easier to kind of dissect this just within the pitch as far as saying that out of 14 songs on this particular product, I wound up at least recommending 6 and then 2 almost songs on top of that. So the score I'm going to give this particular album here within the pitch behind it basically is 6 out of 14. You would think that that would be somewhere in like the 4 out of 10, 4.75 out of 10 type territory, but because it's like a movie soundtrack within the pitches behind it, and it just has the relative type appeal of having some exclusives. Now, if these 6 songs were not exclusives, this would definitely get probably around the 4 out of 10 type territory. But I'm just going to go ahead and say about it that 6 out of 14 in terms of exclusives that are basically roped to this product and are worth purchasing within those aspects. That's a little bit less than half the album, plus the plus the 2 almost songs that are basically almost songs just within the pitch because they're on other products. It's unfortunate that Twisted didn't provide an exclusive for this product. Definitely would have been dope considering that it would have been Kamikaze era Twisted, which would have been pretty awesome. But we'll basically talk about Hope a little bit. That is the single off this product, but it's basically the same as it was off of Kamikaze. And then the other almost song is What Love Can Do, which is by Latoya Luckett as far as this pitch can go. So basically the 8 songs I recommend on here would be Southside, Roll With You, Wouldn't You Like to Ride, Time, About the Game, and Professional. And those are the 6 songs I recommend full blown. And then the 2 almost songs would be Hope and What Love Can Do. So basically, just to talk about some of these in order, Hope is the single. I'm not going to really go in on Hope just because I already reviewed that particular song off the Kamikaze soundtrack. It's the same song as on the Kamikaze soundtrack. It's just basically like a floaty kind of food for thought type song in like a more personal type sense, but works for like the tone. It's a good classic song from Twisted within those appeals. Very differential from seemingly like the tone of the movie, just a real breath of fresh air within some of those type pitches, but it is a good songs within the pitch. Now I don't know if Faith Evans, there's a version of this particular song that has Faith Evans on there, and I don't know if she was on the version with Kamikaze on it, but it is a good type of appeal to kind of get that one. And then What Love Can Do, this is an almost song just because it's also on LaToya Luckett's album that came out way out in 2006. So it's just the concept as far as saying, I'm going to at least talk about this one with the description just because of the tone that I have not really reviewed LaToya Luckett just yet. I will eventually get to her somewhere down the road, but I look after just be able to say here, What Love Can Do is basically like a neighborhood kind of basic late day saunter kind of get within those aspects, just smoky and glaze kind of back and forth. That does say in a good song for some errands in the pitch. So it's just kind of the concept as far as saying, it's just basically kind of hands tied kind of R&B kind of melodrama as far as this pitch kind of happen. Just the concept of this kind of preoccupied thoughts just in like a typical kind of commute push as far as those aspects kind of happen just in a more evening glaze type sense. There's some good evening glaze about this particular product. A lot of this kind of has that typical kind of scuzzy type dredge within the pitch behind it. Just more neighborhood kind of, not necessarily the full bound say ghetto, but just within a more slummish type sense. Just the aspect of not necessarily like, you know, in like the big wig type territory with an aspect behind it. It's just the tone as far as saying it's just some there's a lot of good neighborhood type products about this project. I think that's the concept of like the movie. I want to say I at least saw the trailers for this particular movie as far as those aspects gonna go. Yeah, I want to say it's basically like your typical kind of factory sports type drama just within the 2000s type fashion. Just the pitch of just rags to riches type for within the aspects as far as the movie kind of goes. But just within the aspects, not to say it's a bad movie, it's just within the pitch that's probably the fair behind it. But just being able to say this particular song, What Love Can Do, is just the aspect as far as saying just the basic saunter, just neighborhood type strolls within the pitch behind it, just with the more kind of preoccupied sense of just Bay and Bellas on your mind as far as those pitches kind of go along with it, just good type tones for those aspects kind of happen. It's basically something to kind of just be a little bit ruffled or miffed within the sense as far as just air and running some of those type fares within the pitch behind it, just the aspect behind it, just typical kind of hands full this type push as far as those pitches kind of go. I look after it, so the 6 songs I recommend off this album, basically a nice one on here would be Southside, and this has the Game and Lil Scrappy. Pretty good team up. There definitely need to be more of these as far as those aspects going to happen. I want to say that they have not really teamed up that often. The thing about this particular time when this came out is this does seem to have like a minor kind of G-Unit affiliation within the pitch. I at least heard Lil Scrappy shout out G-Unit on this particular product. So this was in January 2005 for that brief window. The Game was a part of G-Unit. This was right before he dropped the documentary as far as those fairs going to happen. So some good type aspects there. But basically, Southside is like a glaring kind of evening protocol to kind of get within these tones here. Just some basic kind of neighborhood sludge that I'd say. Just after hours saunter, I would feel like about this one here. Good product about that. Just snack run music and toke type music within the tone behind it. So just the aspect. I do want to say that I think this movie is probably PG-13 within the aspect behind it. So it's not, I realize that the concept of, it's not like you're going to full bound have songs just for like the complete get tore up, viciously within the tone behind it. But it's just some products that just like some of that glaze, that just the aspect behind it. It's a pretty secret type song in the Game. I would definitely say within the aspect, if you miss Primary Game, when you think of like 2005 G-Unit era documentary, you think of like G-Unit era documentary era Game as far as those pitch can happen. And then 2005 Lil Scrappy, which was a relatively quiet year for him. It's just a good type pitch can get some of these team ups. Just it seemed like the 50 Cent affiliated type song. I almost questioned 50 Cent had to do with putting both these folks on this particular soundtrack. Some good type appeals for that, because Lil Scrappy did have a joint venture with G-Unit throughout 2005, 2006, so some good type tones. But I look after it, just being able to say within some of those type of aspects, just basic kind of evening sludge within the aspect as far as those fairs going to happen. This is like probably one of the more dredgy type ones. I mean, it's a relative makeshift type song, but it's just a little bit more of like the product of just like that kind of mug type music, mean mug type music within the aspect as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. Just typical welcome to my neighborhood kind of slummish type aspect within the tone behind it, just where you'd see like the shoes tied up over and thrown over like a telephone pole, some pitches like that, some of those type of aspects just within the tone behind it as far as those things can go. But it's just some good type appeals with that. Just good basic kind of snack run type music just from the tone behind it. It's good neighborhood strolls with an aspect. Taco Bell runs some of those type pitches. Just good song to toke to within the backwood. Good song to toke to within the backwood type fashion of it. So good type appeal. Roll with You's a nice one. This is by Ciara, which this is a good aspect here just because this is relative primary Ciara back when she was red hot back in late 2004, early 2005 when she was crusting up a goodie. So Roll with You is like a solid kind of goodies left over from like Ciara. I would definitely feel like here it just feels like a buzz single outtake as far as those pitches can go, and it's just the dance night kind of primer I feel like about this this particular one. It's a red hot type song within the pitch. So Roll With You is just some basic kind of buzz single type noise just in the pitch behind it. This really feels like something that probably would have been just like Roll With You just really feels like something that would have been an in-between type song from Goodies as far as those pitch can go. Just something that just reminds me definitely of like Looking At You from that particular album, one of those type ones. I think that was produced by Jazzy Face, some of those type pitches. Now, I don't think that particular song Roll With You was produced by Jazzy Faye, but it's just within the pitch as far as saying it's just a good type connect of like another stock kind of dance hit from CR. If you need like some songs, if you know Goodies back to back within the tones behind it, most of CR is kind of 2000s era dance goodies. Is just an extra type one to kind of get here with this like some good send off within like a primer. And this one's more of a primer. This is kind of one for more of like 6:37 p.m. before kind of the conduit of either like an initial kind of dance club setting, just like the conduit of early dance floor type noise, just 6:30, 7:30, 7:45 p.m. type stuff, or just the conduit or just the conduit of getting towards that particular aspect, or just like the aspect of getting ready to step out some of those type pitches, just getting your pals ready and some folks like that getting the commotion going within those aspects. So it's just some good type primers. I'd say, Wouldn't You Like to Ride is a nice one. Now this has a Kanye West beat. It has Kanye West verse, Malik Youssef, and then Common on Harris and folks like that, and also seemingly like a cat named JV. Not really sure full blown about that, but as I say, Wouldn't You Like to Ride is like a nice sludgy kind of evening breeze and like a DJ drama mixtape soul sense as far as those aspects gonna happen. Just vintage Kanye here as far as those aspects gonna go. So just kind of an interesting phase for Kanye because there wasn't too many features from him around this particular time between like early 2004's college dropout to mid-late 2005's late registration as far as those pitches gonna happen. Just an easy kind of stopgap type appearance from Kanye within some of those type aspects. Just has that good appeal, just having that DJ drama soul within those aspects as far as doing it. Just look after the aspects as far as being able to get that done. It's just interesting that even Kanye had some of these type ones for that particular mixtape appeal within that sense. So it's just some good house cleaning type music, some good cruise around just within the aspect. It's another sludgy type one within the aspect, kind of similar to Southside, not quite as gnarled and quite as like malaise as like that particular one, but definitely the aspect of just like a relatively kind of more discussing, kind of just more like not necessarily like a full bound kind of sludgy type song, just the smog of it like compared to Southside, but it's just the pitch of just like some relative just kind of like more dredgy type aspects behind it, just that standard kind of just malaise that I'd say more within the aspect of it, just like evening breeze within a sense. It's the relative, it's just like some Tuesday 4 o'clock p.m. 5 o'clock Wednesday 5 o'clock p.m. kind of just sludge of just like the dredge between as far as those aspects can happen. So just typical kind of fare as far as just after work shift, after class, some of those type pitches within a ton, just typical kind of makeshift too for those within those pitches. Time is a nice one here. Now, this is probably one of my more favorite songs off this project. It's good Saint Lunatics features as far as those aspects going to go. Has some good aspects there. Has a J-E-B pitch like that. But this one actually fits the theme of the movie a little bit. This is one that seems more crafted for like the movie type fare within the pitch behind it. This song is like a nice in-between kind of day traverse kind of get here. Just get things together, kind of bustle tune within those aspects. It's some dredgy kind of makeshift day. It's like some dredgy kind of makeshift day motivations as far as those pitch kind of happen along with this. This is a good type tone. One of those type ones where you get your shit together. Some of those type aspects that just snap into it. Just realizing that you gotta quit slacking, gotta hop to it, and just get with the aspect of this. Having like the kickoff as far as like a bustle type song where it just kind of goes with like the transit type process of probably showing things in fast forward or something like that. It's just an aspect of things start to pick up. So it is like the relative snap about this song, time as far as those aspects kind of happen there. Just a good type of feel within some of those type tones as far as the fashion kind of behind it kind of goes along with it. Just some good type aspects of just like that relative type dredge. There's some good type dredge type aspects just within the bustle type fare, just being able to get it done. So it's just a product of just being productive, just within the pitch behind it. Just the concept of just like, alright, like I was saying, just a good conduct of getting laced up as far as this pitch can go, and then just the concept of putting in work as far as those aspects of more like make it happen type music, more so than the full bound kind of just more typical kind of just turn up in fashions like that. So it's not to say there's anything wrong with like the spice of just getting reckless and pitches like that, but it's just within the tone as far as having like some songs on the opposite side of the coin for actually, following through and pitches like that, and coming through as far as those aspects can go. So it's good type tones for that. I would say that About the Game is a quality one as well. This is a nice Trey Songz feature on here. This is kind of before he was really dropping albums full bound within the pitch behind him. It's like the day after I was kind of serenaded to kind of get within those aspects. It's kind of a ballers R&B type tune within a pitch. And so when you look after just the aspect of thinking of like R&B singers that were kind of more baller oriented within some of those type pitches. I mean, you'd have the occasional song, but in terms of someone that when you think of like an R&B singer that was really like the hoop, I mean, apart from maybe Chris Brown and I'm trying to think of some other ones, like it's not really as much full bound within within the aspect of someone that had more of that typical kind of Nick Cannon and Bow Wow type, just really I'm a baller type lifestyle, usually wearing jerseys, some of those type pitches within it. It's not to say it's full bound that there weren't folks that probably had the basketball assets, but just within the tone, it's more basketball oriented type pitch. This is one for that particular aspect. This baller living type R&B as far as this pitch going to go. Good reprieve from like a typical day flash. I'd had to say here, just kind of the moments of dislike where you're not on the scene and kind of more amidst like the day grind within pitch slab, that type fair, but just the aspect of having like some good kind of brief moments of dislike, the aspect of just reflecting in like a more recreational kind of smoother type sense within the aspect behind just a little bit more plush type sense. This is pretty lit type song within the pitch behind. So just a nice one. This reminds me of some of that 2008 promo type step out within some of those type pitches that a lot of folks would kind of do between folks like Rocco and Rick Ross and some of those type folks from early 2008 pitches. So some of that type fare, just the first half of 2008 and 2007, some of those type pitches when you think of like Flo Rida and Rocco and Rick Ross type tunes and Fat Joe from 2008, some of those type fares just in the pitch behind. This really has like promo single type fare, just a little bit more of like a more date night type step out within a more kind of just plies and kind of more just like a suaver kind of thug life type fashion within the pitch behind. So it's just good type tones that just having that particular aspect of something that just feels like a promo song, like a more summer fried kind of thug life type sense. So it's good type of feel for that, good aspects there. I'd say Professional's a nice one as well. This is like a this pretty good chingy song within the pitch behind it. This is like produced by one of his longtime affiliates, Trackstars, who pretty much produced most like the Jackpot album from 2003. Also has some backup folks on here, which I didn't notice. Spotify does not denote this as much, but when you go to Wikipedia, there is like a parent group on this particular song called GIB, which I don't know what that stands for, but it's two of these rappers. Just being able to say, Chingy only has one verse on this particular song. He's just on the first verse. So I don't know if Chingy had like some slime or some wingman as far as this bitch can happen that he was trying to put on. I just look after they are at least on this song. But Professional's like a jazzy kind of night pizzazz from like longtime chill, like longtime Chingy affiliate Trackstars. I'd have to say a good concept for that. It's like a basic kind of dance club thunder, I'd have to say here, and just a good buzz single within the pitch behind it. Professionals like some excellent kind of set it off. There definitely need to be more moments like this on the particular album. I'd have to say there's not terribly much Friday, Thursday night type of feel. This is probably one of those ones where like the basketball players, the team, as far as this pitch can happen, just go out for like a night of flash and pizzazz. It's kind of the more flirt type music within the aspect as far as the tone's going to happen within it. Just a conduct of just getting rowdy a little bit. The concept of, you know, maybe there'd be some smokers there, some pitches like that, or maybe it's not necessarily the best idea to get turned up like this, but it's just kind of concept as far as saying that it's just the concept of just, you know, it's seemingly with the concept of the more arrogant type fashion, just getting crunk within the tone. It's not to say then that fashion as if like getting crunk, you know, within a tone that does not suit the movie, being arrogant within the pitch, again, tore up is not really the pitch. Within being of a concept that doesn't fit the movie, obviously getting tore up is not arrogant within the pitch behind, but just within the concept of a movie where it just seems like the team kind of cuts loose a little bit more than they probably should, and then it seems like the prospect of the movie where the team cuts loose more in like a party type aspect more than they probably should, and this kind of does not benefit from it as far as this pitch can happen. Just has like some slag moments as far as those aspects can happen. Now, I have not seen the movie. It may not actually have that particular fashion as far as it goes, but it is just like a pretty blitzing type night within the pitch. But like I was saying, there need to be more moments like this across the particular album as far as those pitches can happen. Chingy definitely had that. There actually are some moments like that on here, like the No Need for Conversations, one of those type moments. They keep most of these party type singles towards the beginning of the project. Red Cafe, Fabulous, and Chingy all have some of these type of moments, and Ciara does have a pretty good moment with that as well. But it's just kind of within the pitch as far as saying, in terms of the ones I recommend, there's not many as full bound on here, just within the pitch behind it. But I don't know, just the prospect. I mean, I think that, you know, it's a solid enough movie to kind of fuck around with nowadays. I'd say just a good pitch, like a simple kind of rental, something like that, just be able to fuck with within the tone. I mean, it's, you know, within the aspect of it being 20 years ago within the pitch nowadays, but it's just within the tone as far as saying. But I just look after within the aspect. So yeah, the score I'm going to give this particular album, me recommending at least 6 songs. Like I think I said the score a little bit earlier in the review, but just saying 6 songs out of 14 on here, plus 2 almost songs, which would be approximately 8 out of 14, which is still not too terribly terrific. I'm just going to go ahead and give this album like a 6.25 out of 10. I think within the pitch behind it, that's about all the more full blown I can kind of do with it. I feel like basically 7 songs out of 14 would be like a 5.5, 5.75 out of 10. It's about half the album, especially if I enjoy these songs, which I do enjoy all 6 of the 6 exclusives off this product, but it's just kind of within the pitch. I'm raising the score a bit just because these are exclusives, and it's just within the aspect that for a movie soundtrack that doesn't always nail the fashions when you don't know what to expect, when it's not just from one singular artist or group, it just doesn't have the same aspect of just knowing if you're going to have this particular quality. So it does have a relative kind of package type aspect of having at least some more of these hit through and come through more so than they did, but it's not a classic, just be able to say that. And it needed maybe a couple more exclusives. I think Twista definitely should have come through with an exclusive on here, and it's the same thing with Latoya Luckett. She did at least give this project an exclusive for a year and a half. It's just in the pitch that probably, I think this song, considering that this song, What Love Can Do, is not a single, probably should have just stayed on this particular project. This would probably would have been a little bit better. I don't know why she decided to keep it, but so yeah, just talk about some of these songs I don't recommend on here. Basically, some of these more NY type beats, like I was saying, just don't come through as full bound. Like I was disappointed in like the Needles beat that he gave Fabulous within the pitch. This one was just kind of like a poor flop, just kind of set off type song that just didn't nail it compared to Fabulous's typical type style. He just has better aspects being able to do that. Same thing with Red Cafe. Some of these type ones just don't compare to like the Chingy bounce as far as those aspect. The thing about this particular product is a lot of these just feel like buzz type songs. I don't really feel like this product went as full bound in with like the concept of getting like a smash that probably would have made this product goes multi-platinum. It just feels more of like a gold selling type album more so than like the pitch of something that's going to go 4, 5, 6 times platinum. I mean, the exclusives are good on here, but in terms of like something that's like a number one, like the 8 Mile soundtrack or something like that, or other soundtracks like the Step Up 2 soundtrack that had the Low song that charted hugely for like 2008 pitches like that, or expecting like a song where Aaliyah would fuck with the movie and then give like the album like a number one, something like that. Just doesn't really have that as full bound. It's not to say that these songs aren't good, but it's just in the pitch as far as expecting like a banner single to really anchor this product. You'll probably find that this particular album just does not have that. It's just more album cuts within the pitch as far as saying that these are good songs, but it just doesn't have like the household name. It's really not a song to really anchor this project and say that this is the best song off the album. You just have to kind of dissect the ones you like best. I kind of feel like the Van Hunt R&B type song just didn't stack up compared to the Trey Songz one. The Trey Songz one was just a little bit more contemporary and fit better. The Mac 10 song was just not quite as good within the aspect. I feel like this barely felt like a West Coast type song. Just didn't really nail the aspect behind it. It was just kind of a clumsy type one. The Czar Knock dude that had another Needles beat just didn't come through that well. It just felt like another clumsy type one like the Red Cafe and Fabulous ones. Accent kind of had like a clumsy kind of diss, like seemingly. I mean, I think it was trying to aim for like some Swiss Beats type fare or something like that. Just kind of like some Dance Thunder. It just felt like a minimalist type one, something like chicken noodle soup or something like that. But just the aspect of a lot of these just didn't have the appeal. So it's just from the aspect for saying it's more clumsy kind of turn up type songs. Most of the songs I did not recommend on here were just more turn up songs that just didn't nail the aspect as far as doing it. I think they just needed to take a page out of Chingy's playbook, just have a little bit more aspect, a little bit more bass about it, a little bit more thump, a little bit more synths. I feel like I'm just surprised that there were not more big name producers on this product. I like the fact that Needles was on here, and I like the fact that J.E. Epperson was on here as far as this pitch can happen, but it just needed more big names in terms of like the producers that probably could have given these folks like some good typical kind of fashions. Maybe they could have hit up like, you know, a Swiss Beats production probably would have helped. I think probably like some folks like thinking of like Justice League and Drumma Boy, some of those type of folks that probably could have given these folks some good productions. I don't know why Lil Jon wasn't on here. If they can nab some of these type of folks, I definitely don't know why a Lil Jon beat wouldn't have been that hard to have gotten. Folks like that. Can't really think it's full bound to like some of these producers. Cool and Dre would have been a nice producer on here. Some of those type of folks, just folks like that, you know. It's kind of within the pitch. Just typical kind of folks that would have been popular throughout 2004, 2005, 2006. It's good type of builds. They did get a Kanye West beat, but just with an aspect, there need to be more things like that. And other track stars beat some of those type of fairs just in the pitch. But I look after it. So 6.25 score. The social score as a result, I'll probably give the social score like a solid 7 out of 10 because I do like the aspect about this product. It does have some good makeshift songs in here. I do like this dredge and like the aspect like the sludgy type fashion as far as those aspects can go along with it. Just some good makeshift like the in-between type moments. There's actually more moments on this particular album for like the Traverse. There's actually more moments off this album for like the Traverse and just the overall conduit type moments in terms of the fashion, like Latoya Luckett and Saint Lunatics and The Game and like the Kanye West type songs. Some of these ones, most of the ones out of the 8 songs I recommend on here just have a little bit more Traverse in mind within a relative scuzzy type sound. So it's just good type of appeal for some of that. This really keeps the slummish type factor like the movie intact with this particular type of appeal, which has some good aspects. And there are some good dance club type thunder. And I really especially did like the Trey Songz song, which is like some good ballers R&B as far as those pitch can have. So it's just good type tones for that. But I do feel like I definitely think this album needed like another dance anchor to kind of back it, like Professional by Chingy and Roll With You by CR. They're just those moments that are kind of more Friday type of appeal are just in like a fleeting fashion that definitely subtracts from this album within the pitch as far as the quality of it being full bounce just from the pitch. But still 7 social because there are some moments on here for folks that do like more of these moments like Fabulous, Red Cafe, accent some of these folks do have, like some dance club type turn up songs. It's just the fact that they just don't nail them. It's just the concept, the attempts that they try to make for the turn up are just not as ferocious as they probably need to be. They should have went with more folks with like some bass and some thumps for us, like the synthiness and things like that, just more snaz. I just look after in terms of the future, that's kind of difficult because Coach Carter did not really have a sequel or pitches like that. This is kind of a one-shot type movie within the pitch behind us. That's just the tone behind it. But as far as those aspects going to go, 6.25 score, 7 social within those aspects. Good soundtrack movie here to kind of get some good exclusive within a relative sense. You get some good exclusives within a relative type sense and some relatively good stuff here.